Hi and welcome to WGTV Today. I'm Kim Best, your host. With me today is Ed Cianferra. He is the Chief Inspector with the City of Goldsboro, and he is going to give us some information on winterization, storm damage, and repair. He's going to tell us how to be prepared in these particular situations. So welcome, Ed.
Good morning.
Thank you for being here, and I'm hoping you're going to give us some good information about how we can protect our homes and how we can be ready for the winter months.
Well, one of the things that when the winter month starts coming, we all worry about the storms that we may have.
Yes.
A lot of times you're going to have people who want to winterize your home or help you winterize your home. First of all, I would suggest to everybody, find out who you're dealing with. One of the things that we have every winter and every spring at the time we're going to have storms, we have a group of people who will come through a city. They will knock on your door and say, well, look, you know, it's getting ready to be winter. You're going to have a lot of gusts of wind, and we noticed your shingles are in there, and we're in the neighborhood. Well, the first thing that citizen needs to do is first, I didn't call you, so where are you in the neighborhood? What other job are you doing in the neighborhood? Get a reference. Go see their work before you discuss your home with them. And once you do that, then find out a simple telephone call, by the way, to the inspections department at 580-4385. If you're in the city, call that number and say, I was talking to somebody about having some work done to my house. Is a permit required? The last thing you would want is somebody to start on a project and a concerned neighbor calls and says there's people working on their house. I don't think they have a permit. So one of my staff will go out, find out, and then stop the man. And a lot of times when they're from out of town, that's it, they're gone. You now have work that was started that's incomplete. They didn't want to get a permit because they weren't doing it in accordance with the code requirements.
Right.
So now you're stuck. So
it's better off in the beginning to go
one
ahead and
phone call, find out if it requires a permit. If it doesn't require a permit, then you need to check their references. Who's going to help you fix your house prepared for the wintertime or storms? That's the first thing we need to do.
Well, talking about how about storm damage? When we have these storms come through during our winter months and say we have had bad gusts of winds or we've had damage to our home and someone shows up, what do we do in that situation?
I will say this. A lot of good Samaritans show up to help.
Yes. And
a lot of unscrupulous people also show up and not to help.
Right.
The first thing I will say to anybody, if you have damage to your home, again, find out who's working on your home. If he's from out of town and he's here to help and you don't think you can get a reference, well, the first thing you need to do is worry if he asks you for money up front. Every building supply place in Goldsboro, North Carolina offers credit or material advancement on any job. If he's a reputable person, then he will turn around and say that certain amount of money is due and work that out with them.
Okay, but you do not have to pay them in full up front.
No. Anybody who's asking you for more than 1/3, I would start to question where we're going with this.
Okay.
Because a lot of people want, I need half the money up front to go buy the material.
Right, yeah, we've heard that before.
And when they leave the yard, they hit the bank within 10 minutes, they cash
never
that
see
check, and then they're off down to maybe Fremont or Pikeville to see if they can't get somebody to pay them up front. And before the week's out, they've made thousands of dollars, and now they're back in some other city or some other state. We have seen that numerous times. So when we have storm damage, again, be careful who you deal with. Check that out. Call the inspection department. We have a tremendous amount of information at our disposal. We will send inspectors out. When there's storm damage, my inspectors hit, and we will go out and tell you how bad your house is, what you need to do. And sometimes the other thing is, contractor tells you, I am extremely busy. Would you please go down and get the permit in your name? I would like all the citizens to understand one thing in the city of Goldsboro, that when you get that permit in your name, you are the person who is responsible for all that work.
Oh,
the law says you are the man that I am going to go out and I'm going to say, this is incorrect. You're going to have to rip that out, do that over. When you call the contractor that night, he said, I'm done with that job, he's gone.
Okay, so
I'm still looking at you.
Yeah, the difference is if you hire a contractor you want the permit to be in their name.
That's correct. The building permit should be in a building or repair contractor's name. The electrical permit, if there's any electrical work, do not understand that one of his men knows how to fix that. A licensed electrician needs to get that permit so you're safe and your family's safe.
Right.
Because as we know, electricity costs most of the fires in the United States today.
Exactly.
Heating and air conditioning is the same way. Have a license in heating and air conditioning. Not one of my men knows how to fix that on a crew. Those are the things that we'll run into. And then again, if you have the general contractor permit in your name,
right,
I'm looking at you. Why didn't you get the licensed electrician? Why didn't you? Because you're the person that the law says that I'm supposed to go to, because your name is on a permit. So I don't want everybody to think that every contractor is bad. There's
right,
some wonderful contractors out here who are really, especially in a time of emergency, go overboard to help.
Just it don't hurt to check their references. But it doesn't hurt to check. Right.
That's all we ask.
Right. Well, Ed, how about, we've had so many in our area, so many floods that have happened in the past, or houses that water gets in the houses. How does that affect the homes? And once the water is out of the home, what should a family do at that point?
Well, depending on the height of the water, if it just reached the insulation underneath the floor, all of that insulation has to go. Unfortunately, fiberglass insulation holds water. It never dries out. And then you got a mold and a mildew issue, which, of course, as we all know, mold can cause breathing problems, even if it's underneath the house, because it's brought into the house through the openings that we have. If the water got up to an electrical outlet,
right,
then the problem we have that flood waters are always contaminated. Now, when I say contaminated, everybody has chemicals in their storage buildings, their outhouse, whatever, and they turn around and that gets in the water. That water comes into your home. You may not understand that it was contaminated. The water leaves your home. Well, if it seeped into the wall, again, it got into the insulation that's in the wall, the contaminated water is there. If it got into an electric outlet, the slow deterioration of the rubberized coating could start to happen, and within 6 months, a year after the flood is gone, and you're totally back to being comfortable in your home, the coatings break down, and now you have electrical wires touching, and you have a wall fire that can do damage to your home, or even worse, take a family member's life. So,
and not even possibly
never know it,
that's
but
what it came
because
from.
the electricity came back on in your home, you think it's safe.
Right.
So we need to have licensed electricians check that out
before you move in.
Before you move back in a home that's been flooded.
Wow, my goodness. Well, thank you so much for this. You have given us a lot of good information that we can use in our own homes, ways to not be scammed, ways to know how to winterize your home, who to call. One more time, will you give them the number for inspections?
Inspection Department telephone number is 580-4385.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Ed. And if you have a situation that you have a question about, whether you need your home to be inspected or whether you have someone who's come asking to do work for your home, call the inspections department. They can help you. Ed and his team will be glad to come out and check out your home and see what you need to do and send you in the right direction. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
And this is another idea about what's happening in your community.